welcome again to Impromptu Enlightenment. Today we're going to talk about sound healing and how it affects all of our lives, whether we know it or not. The music that we listen to totally influences us. A lot of times, if we're listening to rap, whatever we're listening to,
I've never seen Sophie dance.
it lifts our vibration. So I tell a lot of my clients to start listening to music more, start dancing, start getting into sound. Sound healing also, if you Google it, look it up, it affects all our chakra centers. You can actually heal the chakra centers, open them up by the A-E-I-O-U. So, and they affect from the lower chakra to the highest chakra center. And then also, when you're releasing energy, and then all of us are going to share how we do this. And we have a special guest today.
You're assuming that we do this. We'll introduce her in a moment.
When we do this, like when I do healings or I do healing workshops, you're releasing energy. So when you release energy, releasing something out of the body, it needs to be filled back up. So what I'll do and go around to each person, and I usually do it in their heart chakra, I will fill it up with sound and color. So it's replaced by sound
But at least
and the
it
color.
leaves a void and they're trying to figure
To
out why they
fill
feel
out.
empty in that area.
Yeah, and so therefore that sound. And I feel like music is our connection to heaven. So, and that's why we brought this lovely guest here today who sings heavenly. She's sung all over the world. She sings in operas, but she sings all kinds of other things. But also she sings in the choir at Our Lady Queen of Angels. She's one of their fabulous cantors there. And she sings at weddings and funerals and events that totally affect people's lives with the music. So before Elizabeth speaks, should we start with you? Like how?
What's Elizabeth's last name?
Jones.
Oh, she got married.
No, I didn't change my name.
But she got married.
married.
To Frenchman.
Elizabeth
plays the
Jones.
saxophone.
Jones.
Who plays the sax?
Elizabeth Jones.
Yeah.
Thank you for being here, Elizabeth.
Thank you.
Thank you. I get excited about Elizabeth.
Aw, thank you.
I'm apparently the grounded one, or so I've been told. So you might see me do that every once in a while. Ring Willis back. Please,
Thank
Susan.
you.
Hi, I'm Susan Queen. And the way I like to use sound healing, number one, I use it personally. I use as a modality, even just with exercise. Like, I love to Zumba dance. And for me, it actually brought me out of a depression, just dancing. It just, it was gradual, but it actually moved all the energy off of me. And now it's like, it's a necessity for me to dance or go exercise, but it always has a theme of music, whether it's rap or hip hop or
Jazz,
jazz.
classical,
Yeah, it's all
opera.
kinds. And it's interesting when you think about how the frequencies, if you focus, the frequencies of different songs or different music can really affect for me, I feel it my heart chakra. There's certain music I can't even listen to. There's certain music that's so angry or so harsh that I just turn it off. Or there's some that are just so egotistical and anti-women that I turn it off. I'm just not going to deal with it.
Yeah.
It's not what I want in my consciousness. So I turn those off, and I just try to stay with the elevated music. For my clients, though, I always recommend Reiki music, that you can find. Like, actually, YouTube's a great source, where you can find Reiki music. And I'll turn that on at night. Like, before I go to sleep, I'll turn on Reiki music. And now it's fantastic because they have scientifically gotten everything down, that they actually have it to the miracle tone, they have it to the frequencies to heal, like particular chakra centers. So you can actually just type that in and you can come up with exactly what you need to heal. So I always recommend that to clients. So, and I also, when I'm doing my intensive healing work with clients, I use the tuning forks. And my favorite sound is actually the one that combines heaven and earth. So it brings forth balance. in your cellular level and your chakra centers. So that's actually one of my favorite tools to use.
So you use music in terms of movement.
Yes,
And
to
that
move
help-
energy.
To move energy. So
Yes.
you move to move the energy
Yes.
utilizing music.
Right.
Okay.
And then I found combining heaven and earth, the earth chakra centers, the lower chakra centers, and then the higher chakra centers.
Right.
But what combines them, why you, I think, work with, is the heart.
You're right.
The heart combines
Right.
both heaven and earth together. And so that's why, like, focusing on the heart, like you do,
Right.
brings it, like, all together.
Right.
That was lovely, Susan.
Yeah.
How about you, Tina?
I don't even listen to music very much anymore. I used to. I know I was one of those people that just never. I sang in high school, but I just never really listened to music anymore. I know it's very weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
I did take a.
It's not weird.
Oh, good, thank you.
Thank you.
Elizabeth is my new best friend. But I just don't, because if I do, I listen to country music because I like the lyrics
love
and things like
country.
that. But in terms of using it for healing or whatever, I haven't really been too experienced with that. I did take a sounding class with a friend of mine, Leslie Almer. You can find her at quantumtouch.com. And she teaches the whole chakra thing, and that was very interesting because it was extremely relaxing to me. And even though I can sing, I don't do it as much as I used to, and so it's probably not as great as it could be because I haven't practiced. But
You could join the
to
choir.
vocalize, it was interesting to vocalize with a bunch of other people, because what I felt in that vocalizing was you start to hear it vibrate. So there was probably about 10 of us. Everybody sings the same note, whether it's an octave or whatever apart, and that on that sound, whatever it is, Om or E or whatever. And I apologize for completely destroying the premise behind this, but what I felt was that you would start to feel it resonate. And first it would resonate in your ears and it would vibrate, and then you could feel it resonate in your body. So I've experienced it as a healing tool, but I don't actually practice it with what I do. So
Well, that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
Is vibrating in your
Yeah.
body and releasing.
yeah,
You know, like last night we had choir, and we sang some of the most profound songs that we're gonna sing at a memorial
right.
service, and it literally helped me release. I just started crying.
Yeah,
Couldn't even sing. I mean, it was so healing just to sing. It was vibrating through my whole body. Felt it.
sure.
It was fabulous.
Well, as a performer, probably the combination of lyric and music is not only profound for the people that are listening, but profound for you. I mean, we see those shows where they talk about, okay, you need to feel it, you need to, but I would imagine that once you do get to that point, it probably, like you said, sometimes it's hard to get through things.
Yes, when I'm doing a particularly challenging funeral, like I've done some for babies before, and I have to have so I'm still using music. So I did a funeral for 2 children from the same family. They both had something in utero, so parents knew they were going to pass away.
Yeah.
And I sang "Jesus loves me, this I know," for the funeral.
Wow.
And I had Black Eyed Peas, "Let's Get It Started" in my head on loop because I needed something, or "Call Me Maybe," that was a higher vibration and happy. So yeah, I am using, even though when I'm singing, I'm not always completely feeling what I'm saying because I would maybe lose it.
Right.
But I am using other music in my head to help me do a good job for them. You know.
Interesting.
So yeah.
And I know that you share with me a lot of times the funerals, they'll come up with you and they just have tears all over, and it's such a good release.
It sometimes feels like a big responsibility. But I have to remind myself, it's not all about me. It's about the person who passed away. It's not about how I'm singing. But sometimes I do get nervous because I feel like the people are counting on me to heal them, which they are.
Yeah.
Sure.
But then it's a privilege. So when someone tells me, your voice really moved me, or I really don't think it's me, because I always ask my angels and Mother Mary to help me, and I have Mary's cloak on me, and so I think, well, thank you, God, thank you, Mary, because that's really what they were hearing. It's like the gift, not Does that make sense?
Beautiful.
I don't
Yeah,
know how to
so
explain
you're
it.
an
Beautiful.
instrument.
Yeah, it's like I'm just
Wow.
the conduit. I'm not, you know.
I was going to ask you, so is your intention then to project the healing of the music onto them?
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
And I always think like, because I will die someday, who would I want to sing at my funeral? How would I want them to sing? And I would hope it was somebody that was all about healing and not just thinking about what they're gonna eat for lunch or you know.
absolutely. Because it does shift the energy.
Right.
Yeah.
It does completely.
Yes.
When I was teaching massage, we would first teach them to think about what they were making for dinner, and then we would ask the person on the table who was receiving the massage how that felt, and then we would ask them to put their intention on what they were doing, whatever the move was. It wasn't important. And they said they could feel the difference between the intention
Yeah.
of
Wow.
one was the caring and present, and the other was like, kind of, we're just sort of doing whatever we're doing. So how is music from a healing standpoint at a funeral to a celebration of birth
wedding.
or
The
wedding
weddings.
or other things that you do? How do you maneuver that in your instrument to make that?
Well, weddings are more of a challenge, to be honest,
Really?
because
Yeah, that's what I thought.
funerals
Really?
it's really easy, but weddings, they're not, unless they're musical people and they really picked the music and they really are invested in their selections. A lot of them are having a church wedding, like, because I sing at churches, for their parents, you know, or they're just like, whatever, here's the music selection. So it's almost like I have to not check out with them because I do feel that energy of the congregation that they just want to get to the party. You know what I mean?
I can see that.
Like
yeah.
they're not.
I can see that.
They're not necessarily religious, so they're not participating. They're not singing with me. Like funerals, people are singing "Amazing Grace" or "How Great Thou Art," and they want to sing even if they're crying, and so then you feel like you're with them as one. But when I'm at a wedding, I do tend to get sometimes really nervous before I sing
interesting.
because I'm like, they're really listening to my voice. They're not singing along. You know? if I mess up, they're not crying. They're not emotional. They want to get to the party, and so I just laugh, and sometimes I look out and I'll look at the groomsmen and that they look away from me because they don't want to be called out that they're not singing. So I try and just be happy, even if it's like not that I'm celebrating I'm celebrating the wedding with them, but I try and be on the same plane with them, even if it's not the same thought process.
That's
So-
interesting.
Yeah.
It's so
Yeah.
different. Yeah.
It is really different.
What other events do you do? What other?
I've done quinceañeras,
Oh, okay.
and so I sing in Spanish, which I
Oh,
don't
wow.
speak Spanish. I understand a lot because there's a lot of
Ah.
good Spanish shows out right now on Netflix. But
She's watching novellas.
yeah, they're really good. They're really
That's
good.
funny.
But
Well, one time this is like I have a question.
yeah, go for it.
I saw you perform in an opera. You sang for like 3 or 4 hours, and I was thinking, oh my God, how do you maintain the quality like that? She sang for like 3 or 4 hours in this gown.
Oh, it was like Gone with the Wind. So we were
Yes.
wearing like
Oh, wow.
it was not Gone with the Wind, but the opera was. That was the premise. That we were gonna do it like Gone with the Wind.
How did you maintain that? The vocals. I mean.
Well, I'm not actually singing for 3 hours, so that makes a difference.
Okay, but it seemed like it.
Yeah.
But
I was like,
what I do is when I'm prepping,
how many hours was that opera?
it was 3. I think it was 3.
But she's
But I'm
she's
not-
only playing her role.
But
so
it seemed
she's
like
not-
she
I'm
was
not on
like
stage the whole time. I mean, I think the longest role where, besides something Wagner for Mozart, where you're on stage singing, is 75 minutes of singing, and I wasn't singing that much.
Really?
It seemed like it because you saw me on stage, but the actual singing time, if you cut it. So I usually just, maybe the month before the performance, I'm singing through the show every single day, my parts. And that's how you build stamina, like if you were an Olympian. That's exactly what it is. You're training. And
It was unbelievable.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Unbelievable.
Oh, that's
Seriously. Oh my gosh.
I'm glad you liked
I was
it.
like
So if someone
So
wanted to get in
impressed.
touch with you to talk to you about your services, how would they do that?
My phone number or email. Should I put it on YouTube?
No, just say it right here. Say it right here, and then we'll post it as well.
Well, my stage name is Rigby Jones, which is my middle name, because
Okay.
there's another Elizabeth Jones out there who's close to my age. Also, so.
Because she also likes to, besides opera, you like doing sitcoms.
Yeah, and improv
Oh, okay.
and things like
She's
that.
really great at improv.
Wow, terrific.
Oh, thank you.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
Tremendous.
So the acting part is there for you too.
Yes, I did
Okay.
some work at the Second City Training Center in Hollywood,
yeah.
which is
Yeah.
so fun. I recommend it. So my YouTube channel is Rigby Jones, like Eleanor Rigby, and then Jones, like Indiana Jones. So you can see I have a bunch of videos. And then my website is rigbyjonesmezzo, MEZZO.com. And my email is like Elizabeth, rigbyjones@gmail.com. And my phone number is 949-287-2754.
And then also, I want to say she was educated with Carolyn Berry, and we went into Carolyn Berry's home that was really famous for commercials.
Commercial work, yeah.
And this casting agent came in, and Donovan, what was his
Michael
name?
Donovan.
Michael Donovan, and he asked
Oh, that was a
Elizabeth.
few years ago.
Yeah,
I'm surprised
yes.
I remember.
Yeah, he asked Elizabeth, "What do you do?" And she goes, "I sing." And then so in front of all of us, he says, "Okay, sing." Like an audition, and everybody was blown out of the water. They went,
great.
"What?"
That's fantastic.
Like, so she can do commercials too.
That's fantastic. Yeah.
Or what would you really love to do? What would your heart desire be?
I kind of want to just make my own genre of opera and dance, and kind of like, you see Celtic women and they dance and they have other instruments and they have things like that. And I'm Welsh, and the Welsh people are very big on singing. Like, they have this thing called a gaman vagani, where you have like 300 or 400 people and they're all singing hymns.
Wow.
In 4-part harmony. I did this in Canada recently, and it was like I started
That's
crying.
right. You won
It's
the
so cool.
Oh, wow.
Canadian.
The North American Festival of Wales, yeah.
Yeah. Last summer, she was auditioning in all the opera houses in Europe.
That's exciting.
It was fun, yeah. It was an adventure. But anyway, I like what Pacific Opera Project does, where they do their operas and they set them in different contexts and they have more movement. It's not a park and bark, which is like when you just stand and sing. We call it park and bark. So I like incorporating like flamenco into my songs, or I guess I would want to do just like a variety show, kind of like Carol Burnett, but with opera.
Because you've been doing flamenco dancing for how many years?
I think maybe 3.
3?
Not that long.
3, but you're really good. And then, how many languages do you sing in?
Russian, Italian, German, French, Welsh, Spanish, English. But I don't speak them all, so please don't write to me in Russian, because I won't write you back. English is preferable, but
And you married a Frenchman.
I married a Frenchman.
So
Yeah.
you're fluent. Well, you do the French mass.
Yes, we do have a French mass. Yeah, we do. Yeah.
When he starts to go off, she just goes, "Oh, honey."
Oh, and her husband plays the saxophone.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
That's terrific.
Oh.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And sings in the choir.
And sings, and he plays piano and penny whistle and
And then he
flute.
Yeah, and what does he do? He's in
His
the
day
choir.
job?
Yeah.
Or what do you mean?
He's, but the other choir, the other church, he
Oh, he sings at St. James the Great
yeah,
Episcopal
as a counter.
as their soloist. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's neat.
Yeah.
Do you girls have any other questions for Elizabeth?
Oh, I know. What song would you pick for our group?
Oh,
What sitcoms?
What song?
Now we're a sick.
Oh, you mean like as a group?
as our
For us.
Well, Sondheim's Ladies Who Lunch. You know that song?
No.
Well, I don't know actually. I don't know if I would choose that one. Oh, it just comes to mind because we're sitting here. Here's to the ladies who lunch.
Bring on the lunch.
Yeah, we do have
Alright.
lunch
Wrong
after.
or something.
I'll have to think about that. That's the first thing that comes to mind.
Is there? Do you have any more questions?
No, I just mezzo
she's going to
is
sing also.
mezzo is the voice that you use, right? So you're not so is that above soprano?
Oh, that's opening a can of worms.
Or is
Yeah,
it-
it's
No, I mean-
Because like soprano, this is my knowledge. There's soprano, then there's seconds, then there's altos, then there's tenors, then there's basses and baritones and stuff like
She
that.
kills
it
all.
You're totally right. It's just people have a different opinion of what classifies that. But
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
so soprano would be much higher, like let's say Queen of the Night. It would
Okay.
be a type of soprano. There's
Got
lots of subsets for each voice type. So what I like singing is pants rolls, which Mozart and different composers would write rolls for adolescent boys, and they didn't want them to sound like men, so they didn't cast men in the roles, and they
Got it.
cast women. So it's a fuller bodied sound and not as light and high to simplify, but there's so many
Got it.
subsets and different opinions of what actually classifies. So
Okay.
for simplicity's sake, yes, I am a mezzo. And
Okay.
I sing lower and richer, I guess.
Although in the choir they have her sing first,
Right.
and then they have her. Elizabeth, could you help out the seconds?
Sure. Sure. I'm sure.
What do you sing, Serafina? I know
Second,
you're in the choir
second.
too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Second, and then sometimes I'll go high.
You do.
But I like singing low.
I like to sing
I feel
solo.
low.
So low you can't hear me.
No.
I used to sing in a hard rock band.
What'd you sing?
Are you kidding?
no,
That's
I didn't.
hysterical.
When
I
I
can
was
see
20
her doing that.
When I was 24, Linda Ronstadt, Fleetwood Mac.
A couple years ago,
nice.
yeah.
Yeah, hearts.
I know those though.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I think you could probably do anything, right? You
Hopefully.
Just,
I can't do Queen of the Night. I cannot do that. That is not my voice.
which
Well,
is
what-
sort of annoying to me,
Yeah.
actually.
Oh,
No
yeah,
I
offense.
mean,
It's an extreme talent, but
It's a beast.
Is there a song that you wanted to sing for us today? Or for...
There is a song that
For
comes
us.
to mind. It's
Do we need
called.
to give you some backup?
You
Are
can.
we gonna do rap?
You can put some beats to it. It's called "God Be in My Head" by Michael Upward and Barbara Brennan, who are part of the choir with us. So it has a special place in my heart, and I think the text is just really beautiful. Do you want me to go?
Yeah, go.
Okay. God be in my head and in my understanding. God be in my eyes and in my looking. God be in my mouth and in my speaking. God be in my heart and in my thinking. God be at mine end and at my departing.
Sitting next to her, it's just
It's
like,
like-
wow.
I know, right
I
through
mean, it just
me.
vibrates
Thank
right.
you.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Absolutely
Yeah.
gorgeous.
Yeah,
absolutely
you can
gorgeous.
feel how heels sounds,
Yeah.
right?
Thank you.
And the way that she vocalizes, you can tell the difference in. Okay.
So where can they get a hold of you again?
We'll put it
Put it on
on
the screen and get you guys the
Yeah.
information. So that you can do it. Thank you so much,
Thank
Elizabeth,
Thank
for
you
being
for
with
having
us.
me.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And we just got our own little sound healing, so.
Yeah.